How to double your revenue without having to quote unquote work harder. 98% of entrepreneurs will lose during this recession, unfortunately. But the other 2%, they will double their income while having to work less. I'm about to show you exactly how to join that 2% of entrepreneurs. During the last economic downturn, I watched as a business owner myself, seeing my friend going from 15,000 months to 50,000 months in his retail business, while everyone else in his industry was just struggling to survive. He wasn't working harder. He wasn't using some secret marketing tactic. He was doing something much more fundamental. Meanwhile, another entrepreneur I know cut her work week from 60 hours to 30 hours work week, yet somehow doubled her rates and created a wait list for her clients during the worst economic times. These people aren't lucky. They aren't special either. They simply understand something that 98% of entrepreneurs completely miss. The truth is, the economic conditions are not creating your results in your reality. They're revealing the frequency you have been operating all along. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can shift your frequency so you can double your business while others are struggling to survive in the recession. The difference that separates the 98% and the top 2% of entrepreneurs are in this video. Now, what I'm about to show you might trigger you because it goes against everything you have been taught about business success. But if you implement it properly, you will never have to fear any recession again. Let's get started. I'm Reeves, and I help entrepreneurs to break through the revenue ceiling by helping them to rewire the subconscious mind. Today, I'm breaking down my quantum shift method that will completely transform how your business performs during the times of economic uncertainty. This isn't a theory. This isn't some guru bullshit that I'm telling you. This is the exact system I used to grow my business during the last economic downturn, when everyone else was cutting back and playing it safe in my industry. Make sure you watch until the end because I'm going to share tips and techniques that I personally used that doubled my revenue in just about 90 days during the worst economic conditions. And yes, you can implement this starting today. Now you might be thinking, why do I need to know this? The economy isn't that bad yet, or I already have a solid business strategy anyways. But here's the truth, man. Recessions don't create scarcity, they reveal it. What's happening right now is what, to most entrepreneurs, is what I call the recession mindset trap. Recession mindset trap. What does that mean? They're slashing the prices, they're cutting the marketing budgets, and essentially preparing for the worst. And that's exactly why they will struggle. Here's something profound that you need to consider. We can only perceive what we are in vibratory alignment with. If you're vibrating at the frequency of scarcity, that's all you will see in the marketplace. Limited opportunities, clients who cannot afford you, and competitors who are just struggling. Personally, I saw this with my own family growing up. Whenever an economic uncertainty hit, my parents would immediately start cutting back on business expenses, saving every penny they have in their bank account, and constantly repeating on a daily basis on how times are so tough. Guess what? Times indeed got tougher for them in their reality because they've manifested it to themselves. You are always proven to be right. Every word you say, every thought you have, it's always going to be proven to be right in your own reality. I remember at the same time, I had this childhood friend named Edward. Shout out to Edward if you're watching this video. Is that essentially owned a building material business. During the 2008 recession, when everyone was scaling back, he actually did the opposite by doubling down and opened 2 new locations while everyone was scaling back. Everyone thought he was crazy. Even my parents were saying things like, oh, he's just gambling. He thinks he knows. But was he crazy though? Or is it the fact that he understood that ancient wisdom traditions had taught us for centuries? The universe doesn't respond to your desires, unfortunately. It responds to your rate of vibration. The universe only responds to your rate of vibration. Your energy is like a magnet, attracting circumstances that matches your dominant frequency. Back to the story, fast forward 10 years later, which is about 2018, he owned the largest market share in an area in Hong Kong. Why? Because he understood something very fundamental that most people don't. The economic conditions do not create your results. They are only revealing the frequency you have been operating at all along. If your subconscious is programmed for scarcity, a recession will amplify that. If your subconscious is programmed for abundance, a recession will actually create opportunities for you. You see reality through different lenses depending on what rate of vibration you are at. The universe doesn't discriminate, and really and truly, it operates like a blind intelligence. It simply matches your vibratory energy state. And that's why some people are able to thrive during bad times while most struggle. This video is specifically for you if you're an entrepreneur who wakes up with that knot in your stomach every time you're checking the economic news. That feeling of dread when you see another headline about more market volatility or any recession indicators. That voice in your head is asking, will my business survive this? You have been working harder than ever. Late nights, early mornings, sacrificing your weekends while others are having fun, getting drunk, getting fucked up and stuff. And in the beginning, you tell yourself that, yeah, this is all going to be worth it because I'm pulling ahead of these people. But your reality has reflected to you that your business is not growing proportionally to your effort. Ironically, the harder you push, the more exhausted you feel, with less to show for it. You also find yourself constantly searching for the newest and most trendy marketing strategies, sales techniques, and business models that might be recession-proof. You're consuming endless content about how to thrive during a downturn, but each tactic feels like a temporary band-aid rather than a real solution. Every time you're about to make a decision to invest capital in your business, whether it's hire a new team member, a new marketing campaign, or hiring a business coach for yourself, your brain just floods with doubts. Is this going to work right now? Can I really afford this with so much uncertainty ahead of me? What if my client just stopped buying from me and I'm stuck with all these big expenses? You sense there's a hidden ceiling that no strategy does seem to break through. You've already tried new marketing tactics, new offers, new pricing models, but something invisible seems to keep holding you back. If that sounds like you, then what I'm about to share with you in this video will completely changes how your business performs. Not just during this recession, but for years to come. Now I'm going to break down my quantum shift method that will completely transform how your business performs during this recession. This method contained 3 parts. The first part, identity shift. The second part, collapsing the importance. And last but not least, what we always call align action. I hope I'm spelling this right. Let's start with the identity shift. Most entrepreneurs, the first thing they do is try to change their action during the recession. I mean, I'm speaking from experience. I adjusted my marketing, my offers, trying to price match my competitors. By the way, unless you're like a multi-millionaire or if your corporation has like millions of investor money to burn for years, price match is so toxic, man. It's literally a race to the bottom. And what frequency do you think you're emitting to the universe each time you're price matching and racing to the bottom with your competitors? You're telling the universe that you're scared, that you won't have clients without being the cheapest option on the market. That's literally the definition of acting out of fear, scarcity, and lack of abundance. And that's exactly what's going to reflect back to your reality. Really and truly, the most important thing you actually need to change is your self-identity. This is what you need to change. Self-identity. I also like to call it self-concept. This is what you need to change. So what is self-identity and self-concept? It's who you believe yourself to be at the subconscious level. And what I mean by that is not how you display yourself to the outside world. It's when nobody's watching you. How do you feel about yourself? That's literally the largest shareholder of your frequency. And your frequency determines your reality condition. Simple. Here's the spiritual truth that changed everything for me. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. The universe is not responding to your wishes nor your goals, but to your energetic signature, the sum total of your beliefs, emotions, and self-identity. When you shift your self-identity at your deepest level, you shift your energetic signature. And when your energetic signature shifts, the universe will have no choice but to match with your circumstances. Look, most people think manifestation is about vision board or affirmations. That's kindergarten level manifestation. And I'm not trying to say that to disrespect anyone or belittling others, but the method should only be a reminder of who you are. They are not the reason or the tools to get you to your destination. You are. Real manifestation happens at the level of being. When you change who you are, you change what you attract. Now, the second part is collapsing the importance. When you really, really need something, whether it's hitting a specific revenue goal or landing a specific client, you're actually pushing it away. You're creating an energetic gap that keeps expanding the more desperately you need it. Now, the secret here is to collapse the importance. When you collapse the importance, you collapse the space between you, which is yourself, and your desire. This is one of the most powerful spiritual principles I've applied to my business. The universe responds to your emotional state. The universe responds to your emotional state, not your logical mind. When you're in a state of desperate wanting, you're actually broadcasting the frequency of not having. Because you only want something if you don't have it. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, reflects back to you not having it. I experienced this myself during the last economic downturn. I was obsessed with hitting a specific target revenue goal. The more I needed it, the more elusive it became. But when I finally collapsed the importance, when I genuinely felt successful and abundant regarding of my current numbers that I see with my own eyes, everything shifted. The third part is align action. This is not about working harder, putting those 80 hours weeks. It's about taking action from a completely different frequency. When you shifted your identity and also collapsed the importance, the action you take comes from a completely different place. They're aligned with abundance rather than scarcity. I mean, I personally watch a lot of metaphysical and read a lot of metaphysical books and watch a lot of metaphysical videos. I fell into this analysis paralysis of what do you mean by align action? Everyone always talk about align action, align action. Well, you use your emotion as an indicator to determine whether your action is an aligned action or not. It has nothing to do with what is the action, but everything to do with who is the person that's taking the action, the self-identity that's behind the action. So when you're taking the aligned action, you're feeling full of joy, peace, and gratitude. You can literally take an action that most people deem as mediocre or nothing special and still get to your desired reality. On the opposite side, you can have the most perfect and refined strategy or method. But if you're taking it from the place of fear, lack, scarcity, doubting yourself while you're taking that action and go, oh shit, this is supposed to be the best method I know. And if this doesn't work, I don't know what to do. Then it doesn't fucking matter how good you think your method is, to be real with you. Remember this, the universe doesn't reward hard work. It rewards alignment. When your actions are in alignment with your highest self, the version of you who already has everything you ever desire in the quantum field, those actions becomes infinitely more powerful. Now, let's get practical. Here are the 3 specific frequency shifts you need to know that completely transform how you operate your business during this recession and double your revenue or more, potentially. First, from protection to expansion. Instead of asking yourself, how can I protect what I already have in a business? You should start asking yourself, how can I expand right now while others are in scarcity? This isn't about being reckless or gambling. It's about recognizing that playing defense is the surest way to lose ground. While everyone is pulling back in their marketing, reducing their offers, and lowering the prices, that creates a vacuum in the market. The universe is literally the exact opposite of a vacuum if you think about it, right? Nature itself shows us that expansion is the natural state of beings. Look at how plants grows towards the light, how water flows to fill empty spaces. Your business wants you to expand, but it's only your fear that's holding you back. I mean, when I first started my business, there was an economic downturn that's happening at the same time. Instead of waiting for things to improve, I doubled it down on my marketing efforts. When everyone was cutting back on expenses like SEO, which is search engine optimizations, marketing campaigns, I saw that attention was cheaper than ever because fewer people were spending on these areas. Within months, I had built a following that would have taken years to build otherwise. Second, shift from scarcity to opportunity. Shifting from scarcity to opportunity. During economic uncertainty, consumers actually don't stop spending. It is such a myth that people just stop spending. They just become more intentional about what they spend on. They look for more value, more certainty, and more transformation. A good example I can provide to you is instead of thinking, oh, everyone is on survival mode right now, I should only do business that are essentials like food, housing, clothing. Oh my God, that is the biggest rag of shit I've ever heard. I mean, to be real with you, I did used to think like that, I'm not gonna lie, but it is so far from the truth. I'll give you an example. I was supposed to start a nail salon business that I verbally agreed with two partners. But at the last moment, man, they both pulled out and were like, oh my God, our dollar's tanking. Everyone is in survival mode right now. Nails aren't an essential business. But I personally know nail salon owners who had the biggest revenue year last year and are on pace to break the last year's revenue this year. So what does that tell you? So-called recession only impacts people who so-called recession only impacts people who subconsciously believes it. And a subconscious language are through repetition, and enough repetition essentially leads to an emotion. That dominant emotion you have, that base emotional you have, is a direct determinator of what events, people, and opportunities you will naturally attract, which changes your reality outcome. The spiritual principle at work here is that abundance is the natural state of the universe. Scarcity is an illusion only created by limited perception. When you shift your perception to see abundance is always present, you tap into that infinite supply of opportunities. Third, last but not least again, waiting to creating. The most dangerous belief I find during the economic uncertainty is that you have to wait for external circumstances to improve to do certain action or to take certain steps. This puts success in the hands of external circumstances rather than your own power that's always been within you all along. The truth is, you don't need to wait for the economy to improve. You just need to improve your own frequency by changing your self-identity. This is perhaps the most powerful spiritual principle by far. You are a creator, not a reactor. The universe responds to your creative energy. When you wait for conditions to improve, you're giving up your own creative power. I remember myself being paralyzed by economic news. I kept saying, I'll launch a new program when things are more stabilized in the business. But instead of that, fuck that, I shifted the belief to my success is independent of economic conditions. This is why you're even seeing this video. Now, I promised to share the technique. I used it to double my revenue during the last economic downturn on my retail business that I own. This is something that you can implement immediately, and it will completely transform how your business operates regardless of external circumstances. This technique is what I call conscious frequency alignment. Here's the thing. Most people are unconsciously aligned with scarcity during economic uncertainties. They don't realize it, but their thoughts, emotions, and expectations are all tuned in the frequency of not having enough. Constant frequency alignment, conscious frequency alignment is about deliberately tuning yourself to the frequency of abundance, opportunity, and expansion, especially when external conditions seem to suggest otherwise. It's like tuning a radio, right? If you want to hear different music, you don't try to change the music that's currently playing on that radio station. You change the frequency you're tuned to. The first step is to become aware of your current frequency. What are you actually feeling towards your own business right now? What are your expectations? What do you think is possible or impossible during this economic climate? Most people never take this step. They're completely unaware of the frequency that they're broadcasting to the universe. The second step is to consciously choose a new frequency. That's the second step. This isn't about toxic positivity, positive thinking, or like doing robotic affirmations. It's about making a fundamental decision about who you are and what reality you choose to participate in. Are you the entrepreneur who struggles during downturns? Or are you the entrepreneur who thrives regardless of economic conditions? Are you the business owner who has to cut back and just play it safe? Or are you the business owner that sees opportunities while others are seeing the obstacles? This choice happens at the level of being, not thinking. It's a decision about your fundamental self-identity. Third step is to align your entire being with this new frequency that you have chosen. This means aligning your thoughts, which leads to your emotions, your expectations, and your action with the version of you who thrives during the economic uncertainty. When I implemented this technique during the last downturn, I made a fundamental decision. I am an entrepreneur who thrives during economic uncertainties. I see opportunities where others see obstacles. My business grows regardless of fucking external conditions. I didn't just say these words though. I made a soul level decision to embody this identity. I felt it in every cell of my body. I expected it to be true, and I took action from that place of knowing. Within 30 days, my entire energy has shifted. I started seeing opportunities instead of obstacles. I approached my marketing with confidence instead of fear. I positioned myself as the guy who can navigate others during uncertainty times. Within 90 days, I had recovered my lost revenue in my retail business. Within 6 months, I had doubled my pre-recession numbers. The difference wasn't like my strategy, it was my frequency. And when my frequency shifted, everything else just followed. So there you have it, man. My quantum shift method for outsmarting the recession and actually growing your business during time of economic uncertainty. Remember this universal truth. The outer world is always a reflection of your inner world. When you change your inner world, your identity, your beliefs, your emotional state, but the outer world has no choice but to change in response. Once again, recession don't create scarcity, they reveal it. And they create enormous opportunities for entrepreneurs who are operating at the right frequency. The entrepreneurs who thrive during these times are not the one with the best strategies. They're the one with the most solid, strongest frequencies. They're the ones who sees opportunities everywhere instead of seeing when others are seeing obstacles. They're the one who expand when other contracts. And that can be you. Implement the conscious frequency alignment technique that I've shared. Make the 3 frequency shifts that we have discussed in this video, and watch how your business transforms even as others struggle. Remember, we can only perceive what we are in vibratory alignment with. When you align yourself with abundance, opportunity, and expansion, that's exactly what you will see, even in the middle of a recession. If you found this video valuable, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on how to break through your revenue by rewiring your own subconscious mind. And if you're serious about transforming your business revenue during these times, I'm working with a small group of entrepreneurs in my revenue ceiling breakthrough program. We're focusing specifically on how to thrive during economic uncertainties. Remember, your success isn't determined by economic conditions. It's determined by your own frequency. And your own frequency is something that you have complete control of. I will see you in the next video.